Hey everybody, Paul Wheeler here at Wheeler Healthy You. Today is Massage Wednesday, and we're going to talk about kind of rolling out the lamina groove. So, which is sometimes a difficult spot to get, but I'll show you and I'll try to take you through the steps in order to loosen up specific areas. So kind of what I'll explain first is the lamina groove. If you see the spinous process of the spine, this is Sam. Say hello, Sam. You want to roll out the lamina groove, which is between the spinous process and the transverse processes. So this is kind of where we want to try to be. This is where we're going to stay for this video. But the goal here is, let's say that when you go into some sort of flexion, a specific area is maybe adhered down, like the muscles just don't want to let go. So if we loosen that up, then the spine can flex or extend or laterally flex better. If that muscle isn't adhered or in spasm or tight, if you want to call it tight. So this is a great technique for that. So I'll show you. So if you take a lacrosse ball or a tennis ball, you're going to find that spot in your lamina groove. So if you find your spine, you just roll off the spine just a little bit. Okay, so that's where you want to be. You don't want to roll directly on the spine. Okay, so before we go to the wall, again, we can do different positions, but I'm just going to show you flexion. So if you roll down and you go to touch your toes, ideally, in an ideal world, you would feel a very broad opening of the whole spine. But let's say that when you roll down, you feel like this tight spot on your left middle to lower back. You don't want that. You want it to be very, what they call either a global movement. You don't want it to be local to that spot, because that means something's not functioning, whether it's above, below, but that's where we explore it. So if you take the ball, find your spine, and we'll go just to the left of the spine, and we're just gonna kind of go in different sections. So you're just gonna roll up and down the spine. And as you roll, you just kind of explore, okay, am I feeling tightness in the low part? Am I feeling tightness in the high part? And wherever you start to feel tightness, hold it on that spot. And what we'll do, and you can kind of see where the ball is, you'll do some pelvic tilts. So we're just kind of just kneading that muscle. We're trying to get that muscle to kind of loosen up. And we're doing a little pin and stretch. And none of this should be really painful. It should feel good. So then what you can do is you can bring the ball up a little bit higher. And again, you can roll that ball. And again, we're just working that next section. And it's the same concept. So now you just find that spot that's painful or that hurts or that's a little tender or that just feels a little more stuck. And you add those pelvic tilts. And I usually do around like 5 to 10, depending on how I'm feeling or how much time I have. Okay, and then you continue to go up. So we're going to do this all the way up the spine, and let's roll out that next section. Now the cool thing about when you go up higher, so then we start to change the movement, which is why I want to work our way up. So as you get higher, let's say, okay, you feel stuck there. Now instead of doing pelvic tilts, because it's not going to affect that area that much, we're going to go into some flexion and extension. So we're just working on pinning down that area that feels a little bit tight, and we're just stretching that tissue away. We're sinking into it, and then we're stretching it away, and then we're sinking into it and stretching it away. Never feeling like you have to tense or tighten up, because that's not going to allow the muscle to loosen up and relax and elongate the way we want it to. So because we're more on our thoracic spine now too, we can now add some lateral flexion as well and try to get that tissue to free up in that direction. And this is where it really comes in handy when we're testing lateral flexion or extension. It helps to add those movements to it rather than just doing flexion. Let's go up a little bit higher, and this will just do one more section. And again, same concept. You're trying to explore and feel where it feels stuck, where it feels tight, and then do the same thing. We're going to do flexion, extension. Make sure when we get up to these higher points, a lot of people tend to start to arch their lower back to get more range. Make sure you don't do that. We're not trying to move from the lower back. We're just trying to extend and loosen up that tissue where we are. And if you add the breath to it, we inhale as we extend, exhale as you come back up. And you can kind of see how I'm flexing and extending. And then again, we can add that lateral flexion side to side. And just get those tissues to free up. Okay, and then you can do more, you can do less, you can explore a little bit higher, and all you do after you're done is you retest. So then we roll down, and you feel that either that whole side feels so much looser, which it feels so much looser for me, but now that spot, maybe it's not pulling as much, it's not as tight, so we know we made a difference. And let that kind of sink in with your brain, and then from there, you can now add some training to it. You can strengthen it, you can stabilize that new position, and you can move better because now you can flex your spine globally or broad rather than specific and segmental. So try it out, incorporate it into your programs, and make sure you like the video and subscribe to the channel.